my man alone!
Your man? When did he become yours?
Leave my man alone. Your man? When exactly did he become yours? Their voices cracked through Zima Village like thunder splitting the sky. Market women abandoned their stalls, stew pots forgotten. Children gathered in a noisy circle, laughing and pointing as red dust spiraled upward. Then someone shouted above the chaos, "Over a man, are you two not ashamed?" But shame had already packed its bags. Shame left Zima Village the very day Dara arrived. If you were in Zima that morning, you would swear the world was ending. Two married women rolling, kicking, screaming and dragging each other across the red earth as if the fate of the village crown depended on who won. And the spark behind all this madness, just one man. Hold on, this story didn't start here. It began long before the dust rose. In the heart of Zima Village, life moved with the rhythm of the seasons. Farmers tended their fields, children played by the river, and neighbours greeted each other with genuine warmth. It was a place where everyone knew everyone, and peace had reigned for generations. That peace, however, was about to be tested in ways no one could have imagined. Dara arrived on a Monday morning, his tools slung over his shoulder and dust from the road still clinging to his clothes. He was a craftsman seeking work, nothing more, but from the moment he stepped into the village square and helped old man Jelani repair his broken cartwheel, something shifted in the air. Women paused in their morning routines to watch. Men nodded approvingly at his skill. Dara smiled easily, offered water to thirsty children, and spoke to everyone with genuine kindness. By afternoon, Zuri had appeared at his makeshift workshop with fresh palm wine.
It's perfect.
"To welcome you
Thank
to Zima," she said, her smile lingering a moment too long. Dara accepted graciously, thinking nothing of it. Village hospitality, he assumed. The next morning, Kamara arrived with warm bread and an offer to mend his torn shirt. Again, Dara thanked her, his humble nature preventing him from seeing what was already beginning to brew. In the fields beyond the village centre, Sela worked her crops with steady hands. She had noticed the stranger's arrival, acknowledged him with a polite nod, and returned to her planting. There was work to be done, and she had no time for distractions. By the third day, a pattern had emerged. Zuri brought breakfast, Kamara brought lunch. When they encountered each other at Dara's workshop, their greetings grew cold, their eyes sharp with something unspoken. Dara, focused on his work, remained blissfully unaware of the tension building around him. He was simply grateful for the village's generosity. Then Bintu, the widow who lived near the well, began
I'm
accidentally crossing paths with him. Young unmarried women found reasons to linger near his workshop, giggling behind their hands. The village elders began to notice. Husbands began to frown. Something was shifting in Zima, and not for the better. The explosion came on market day. The square buzzed with vendors and buyers, the air thick with the smell of spices and roasted corn. Zuri arrived first, carrying an elaborately wrapped gift. Kamara appeared moments later with her own offering. They reached Dara simultaneously. "He smiled at me yesterday," Zuri declared loudly. Everyone saw it. "He helped me carry water," Kamara shot back. "That means something. It means he's kind to everyone, not just you." The argument escalated. Voices rose. Then Zuri's basket hit the ground. Kamara's fabric tore. Within seconds, the two women were grappling in the dust, while the entire village watched in stunned silence. Children squealed, men shouted. Dara rushed forward, his face stricken with horror. "Please, stop. I meant no offense to anyone." The husbands pulled their wives apart, but the damage was done. Elder Bashir, the village chief, stood at the edge of the crowd, his weathered face grave with concern. He said nothing, but his presence spoke volumes. This could not continue. The next day, 3 more women publicly declared their interest in Dara. They appeared in their finest clothes, hair elaborately braided, competing for his attention with increasingly bold gestures. Women who had been friends for years now eyed each other with suspicion. Wives neglected their households. Children went to bed hungry because their mothers were too busy positioning themselves near Dara's workshop. Dara himself had become a shadow. He tried to work quietly, to avoid eye contact, to disappear. But there was nowhere to hide in a village the size of Zima. The weight of what his simple kindness had unleashed pressed down on him like stones. That evening, the men gathered at Tao's compound.
You must leave our village,
Torches
Edgar.
flickered as voices rose in heated debate.
My wife burns
My
dinner
wife
watching
burns
for him.
dinner watching for him, one man complained. Mine no longer tends our children properly, another added. Tao, the natural leader among them, struck his palm against the table. Enough! This stranger has turned our village upside down. We must act. Some wanted Dara expelled immediately. Others counselled a warning first. Eventually they agreed. They would confront him together, make their position clear. If he valued his safety, he would leave their wives alone or leave Zima entirely. The march to Dara's workshop was intimidating by design. Torches, angry faces, the solid wall of masculine authority. Dara stood frozen as they surrounded him. Your presence brings chaos, Tao declared. Leave our wives alone or leave Zima, tonight. Dara's voice trembled. I've done nothing but show kindness. I never pursued anyone. I don't understand what's happening. But before Tao could respond, the women arrived. They had heard the commotion and came running, fury in their eyes. Not fury at Dara, but at their husbands. He's done nothing wrong, Zuri shouted. You men are just jealous, Kamara added. The square erupted into chaos. Husbands versus wives, accusations flying like arrows. The very fabric of Zima's community tearing before everyone's eyes. Then came the sound of wood striking stone, once, twice, 3 times. Elder Bashir stood at the center of the square, his walking staff raised. Silence fell like a heavy blanket. Enough, he said quietly, but his voice carried to every corner. Go home, all of you. At dawn, I will render judgment. No one slept well that night. When the sun rose, the entire village gathered in the square. Dara stood before Elder Bashir, looking smaller than his actual size. The competing women positioned themselves prominently, each dressed in their finest. Husbands stood behind them, arms crossed. Children peeked from behind their parents. Even Sela had come, though she stood at the edge of the crowd, separate from the drama. Elder Bashir spoke. Never in all my years have I seen one man cause such disorder. Marriages strained, friendships broken, work neglected, children forgotten. He turned to Dara. You have brought chaos to Zima, intentional or not. Therefore, you must choose. Select one woman to court honorably, or leave this village before the sun reaches its peak. This ends today. Dara's hands shook. He looked across the sea of expectant faces. Zuri leaned forward eagerly. Kamara adjusted her head wrap. Bintu smiled hopefully. A dozen other women held their breath, waiting. Slowly, Dara's gaze moved past them all. It travelled to the edge of the crowd, where one woman sat weaving a basket, completely focused on her work. Salah hadn't even looked up at Elder Bashir's pronouncement. Her hands moved steadily, peacefully, as if this entire spectacle had nothing to do with her. Dara began walking, past Zuri, past Kamara, past every woman who had fought for his attention. Gasps rippled through the crowd. He stopped before Sela. She looked up, surprised. You never came to me, Dara said softly. Never brought gifts or flattery. Why? Sela considered the question. Because affection that must be demanded isn't affection at all. What grows naturally needs no force. A smile crossed Dara's tired face. In all this chaos, you remained at peace. That's what I seek. He extended his hand. If you would consider me, I choose you. Sela studied him for a long moment. Then she set down her basket and placed her hand in his. Perhaps we can know each other properly then, without the noise. The square fell silent. Then, gradually, movement. Zori and Kamara looked at each other, and something like shame passed between them. The competing women began to disperse, avoiding each other's eyes. Husbands approached their wives. Tentative hands reached out. Apologies whispered. Reconciliations began. Elder Bashir nodded with satisfaction. As the crowd dispersed, Dara and Sela walked together toward her field. Behind them, the market reopened. Children resumed their games. Families reunited. The rhythm of Zima Village began to restore itself, steady as a heartbeat. Peace had returned, brought not by competition or force, but by the quiet wisdom of choosing what was real over what was merely loud. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. What would you have done in Dara's position? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more stories that inspire and teach. More tales from villages like Zima are coming soon.